Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Glory Reds podcast. And it's your boy, Don Benito. And today, as you can see, the title of the thumbnail, it says Trust the Process. Trust the process. The famous lines by Eric Ten Hag. We need to trust the process and, keep believing, and I'm there. That's where I'm at. I'm trusting the process. I know everything doesn't seem like I don't know. It does seem like doom and gloom, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just feel different. I feel, regardless of what is happening, Manchester United will just always be there. I can't explain that, but we will be there. You know what I mean? So today, let's jump into the topics that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the injury boost. Um, Players coming back, which is a huge positive for us. We're going to be talking about Alphonso Davies, the hottest left fullback right now in football. Davies is just causing all sorts of problems in terms of people wanting his signature. Not because of what he's doing on the pitch, no. His signature. He is hot property. The guy's 23 years old. And I think you guys have already seen him destroy a couple of teams throughout his career. So he's somebody that, whew. And then we're going to talk about the words of Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans spoke very highly of Eric Ten Hag. And I think when people are trying to give a gauge about what people think about the manager, I think it is good that people trust trustworthy people. And Johnny Evans, I believe, is a Mancunian through and through, academy boy, blah, blah, blah. He understands. So I think he is a better judgment. Like, he will give us a better judgment of what he thinks of the dressing room. He doesn't seem like a leaker or anything like that. So I want to be talking about that. And then I want to be talking about the goals, like in general, because we had this topic with me and Pastor D. And I mean, initially when I brought up this topic, it was just so I can spark debate, like so I can gauge and see, because I was also getting frustrated and I didn't understand why. But it was about the goals, and then I saw the quote from Post Goals, and he just literally said our forwards are not good enough, and it hit me like I was taken aback when I saw when I read that, but then it got me thinking like, do we really have the good stuff, and that's something that we will discuss today. And then last but not least, the Golden Boy Award. It is an award that is given to a outstanding player who's 21 and below. I think last season it was Jude Bellingham, and this season we have got 3 players from Manchester United who have been nominated for the prize. We're going to be talking about that. Now, let's jump straight into it. Injury boost. Oh my God. You know what? Manchester United is starting to look like we're going to be having a season like last season. And by no means am I trying to make excuses. I am not going to make excuses. I'm only going to make excuses when, like, literally, like, there's nothing else that you can use or say. Like if for example, like, this is hypothetical, touch wood, or you know what I mean. But let's just say Martinez gets a season ending, De Ligt gets a season ending, Bruno Fernandes gets one for a couple of months, like what Odegaard is having, that kind of thing. That can absolutely derail us. That can put us in a very serious predicament. And that is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about those devastating injuries. And that's the only time I'll use that as an excuse. But for right now, I mean, it is soft and we do have players coming back, but this injury situation is a problem. It is a problem. And I believe this injury issue has a direct correlation to the fixture list. You know how the games are congested and how these players are playing so many games in a very short period of time. I was listening to Simon Jordan and Jim White, and they had this guy on the show, and he's talking about he has this data, that explains. I think it has something to do with helping, with substitutions, and also like they have this data that proves that the more games these guys are playing with no rest in between can cause tension and can cause these players to actually eventually get injuries. You know, and there was a whole nice debate about it, talking about like the games should be spread properly throughout the year, throughout the season. They shouldn't be congested as much as they like. That is a very good topic for us to be talking about. This fixture congestion is ridiculous because, believe it or not, some of our players that are injured are because of that. You look at Manuel Ugarte. Ugarte is a very strange one. I know he's back, but him picking up these small injuries and stuff, it's like you look at these games, you look at Kobe Mainu, you look at Garnacho, you know, these guys were playing week in, week out. They're representing their country, this, then they've pulled out, and it's chaotic. It's because of so many games. And I really truly believe that the FA and the football authorities out there, they really need to take a look at this, because this is going to be very, very bad. It'll be detrimental to these players if they don't come up with a solution. If they don't come up with something that makes sense, that can protect these players from these injuries. Because I don't understand why people keep wanting more games. Don't you guys want quality games? Like I prefer quality over quantity when it comes to football. I want to sit there, dedicate my 1 hour 30 minutes in watching amazing football. I don't want to be just watching high intensity players just getting injured. Like, man, like we are really truly losing the essence of football. That spark of football, that thing that made group that thing that made football what it is. We are slowly losing it because of all these things that we keep adding in. And I am truly for the advocate. I'm truly advocating that these guys. And I remember I saw also Rodri talking, saying that listen, the players are also on the verge of striking. Now I don't know how true that is because Simon Jordan shut that shit down immediately. It's like you players that just keep getting a lot of these money, like all this money, and you're complaining. Stop saying that all the players are going to strike because it affects players differently. The top teams that are playing in European Cups, that are playing more games than the normal team, are usually the ones that are hit. So by him saying that all players are going to go on a strike, it's almost like taking a piss. So it's like, listen, let's talk about this. Let's find solutions. I don't know why the captains, the Premier League captains, why haven't they come together? Why haven't they opened a WhatsApp group and say, yo, guys, are you guys feeling this fixture congestion? Like, what's going on? What's your story there with your injuries? Cap, hey, no, they discuss, come up with these things. There is power in numbers. I always tell my family, I always tell my sisters, my brothers, there is power in numbers. If these players, you look at the time when we shut down the Super League, there was power in numbers. These guys just tried to force something into our throat, and we're like, nope, we're not having it. We reacted, the whole world, boom, it was scrapped immediately. And I believe it's the same thing with the players. Mental health. They've had that moment where they brought in the captains or the skippers or whatever for them to discuss mental health. Why can't they do the same thing with this fixture situation? Why can't they come together as a footballing governing body or whatever, or captains and vice captains, and say, listen, guys, we have a situation here. Obviously, we are being affected more than some of you guys, but we believe that if you guys were in the same position, we would have the same issue. So how do you think we need to go about this? Have a discussion, because I'm sick and tired of players getting injured, and it's just like one thing that broke my heart, and I know I'm going to say something on Glory Reds. It's about a player that's not it. But I look at Martin Odegaard, right? Odegaard was injured, touted he was going to be injured for some time. I read an article there that his injury just got worse. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I don't want that. I don't want that. Harry Maguire is injured. I don't want it to get worse. Ugarte is injured. I don't want it to get worse. You look at Martinez, you look at whoever's injured. You just don't want this to get worse. These are worst case scenarios. So we don't want that. Now, to avoid that, these guys need to have a discussion. For me, that is the situation. But as for Manchester United, our injury boost is good because we're not too sure if we're going to have Ahmad or Garnacho, but those two are back. Maz, Maz is a tricky one for me because after I found out about his heart condition, it's just a touch and go situation with me. I'm not even like I want him to play, right? Because he has been our best defender, I think, one of our best defenders, or should I say, our very consistent defender, giving us 7-7-7 every game. Now, with his heart issue, if they're able to sort it out and he's able to play with no issues, I'm up for that. But if there are underlying situations or conditions that are going to affect his game, I say pull that back, hold him back, put him there, let him chill, like let him come back when he's ready. I don't like rushing players. It's just the thing for me. I don't want a player to be rushed because the moment you rush him and he tries to get back, gets injured more, then it's like what, 2-3 games? And like what was the point? So with that regard, I am happy. Malacia is also back on the pitch. And can I please say something about Malacia? And you know what? I don't know if I'm gonna be the only one to say this, but I want a different attitude to be going towards Tyrell Malacia. I honestly I'm sick and tired of people just writing him off. Like I get it. Every other player, they've had the opportunity to prove themselves and stuff. I don't think Malacia really did have an opportunity to prove himself. I don't think so. I don't think he had a string of games that you could easily say that now this guy's gonna be a top player. But there is a potential there. There is absolutely a potential there. I see a machine in Tyrell Malacia. I see, because we keep on saying we want Luke Shaw to keep bombing forward. Tyrell Malacia has got the engine. When we got him, I think it was from PSV. That was his daily bread. That was his daily bread. He was just doing his thing. But because we're so used to Luke Shaw, and because we want to compare our fullbacks to other people, we tend to have a little dig on our player. Malacia is a good player. I don't want to write him off. I don't want people to be like, nah, he's already whacked before he plays. This is actually good for us that he's back because, man, I'm now starting to think, man, I don't trust Luke Shaw now. Like, I trust him if he's fit, he's going to do the job. But for him to be there and available for us, I don't trust it. And this also now brings me to this whole situation. I kind of have a bone to pick with Ineos, and I don't know if it's Ineos or, well, is it Ineos, the Glazers, Ed Woodward? I don't know. But you see, we have Alvaro Fernandez, right? Alvaro Fernandez came from Real Madrid to Manchester United academy system. This boy left Real Madrid, Los Blancos, to come and become a Mancunian. He comes in there, this boy, I think from a very young age, this boy, when you look at his style of play, he looks so mature. He looks already beyond his years. Obviously, he needs to grow some muscle or whatever, but that kid has been ready. And we send him out on loan to Preston and all these other Benfica, and like we send him out on loan. And I'm thinking, this, like, we are doing all these loan things because we're trying to cook these players so they can come in and help, especially in a situation like this where these freaking injuries just pop up from nowhere. And we sell Alvaro. Now, I get it. I understand why we sold Alvaro Fernandez. I understand. We sold him for 5 mil. I understand because we're trying to make money. We're trying to push in for these new signings that have come to Manchester United. I absolutely 100% understand it. Where I don't get it is how they analyze the left back situation. Even till right now, I am still a little bit like, okay, wait, what's going on with Amas? I'm sick and tired of Manchester United being the only club that kind of doesn't trust players, like young players. Kobe Manu is an exception. Garnacho are an exception. Ahmad had to work his way through. You think right now Ahmad, what he's having is what he had before? No. He had to fight to be able to even get a position, starting position in that starting lineup. So every other player has been given an opportunity to actually prove themselves. Why are we not giving opportunities to positions that we actually desperately need? I think every Manchester United fan here is baffled as to why Amas has not even been thought about. I think you're sitting there thinking, okay, we have this situation, but we have the players. Like, we have the player. Honestly, we are a team that is figuring itself out. Why not let this kid jump in and help us figure ourselves out? And mind you, the academy graduates, the academy kids, have a very good record of coming into the starting lineup or coming into the first team and actually doing the business. Like, you look from the start, and I'm taking it starting from Mason Greenwood. Now, let's just take it from Mason Greenwood. When Mason Greenwood graduated from an academy player into a player that he is right now, when he was playing in and out of the first team, he was doing the business. Garnacho, Kobe Mainoo, we were like, this kid is beyond his years. We were saying that. But then now we're in a situation where we could actually use this kid and we're not putting him. So that part, I don't get. Why we left Alvaro Fernandez, I also don't understand. But now the good thing, the positive thing that I take from what Manchester United did with a lot of the players is introduce the buyback clause or first refusal or first buy, whatever you want to call it. Manchester United have got first priority. If this player decides to go to this, their first priority, come in there and say, nope, that's my player, we're taking him back. They can do that. I hope they do that. Because I don't think if they're sitting there thinking that Luke Shaw is for the future or for the next 4 years, then they're fucking losing it. Then they're mad. They are mad. January, summer, we need to be stacking up. We need to be looking at options, viable options for that left back position. I'm tired of putting Dalot in that position and then screw it up, and then I go in on Dalot because he's being put there, as because whatever. I'm tired of it. Let's have the balance that we've always had, and let's move forward. So I don't understand why we have that problem. You look at Bayern Munich with Musiala, I think they trusted him. You look at Man City, Rico Williams. You look at Oscar Bob. Oscar Bob is injured, but if Oscar Bob was fit, he would have been starting in Manchester City's games because he had wonderful preseason. You look at Pau Kubasi at Barcelona as 17-year-old centre back. He's not the tallest of the centre backs. Nah, he's just a normal bloke that can ping 50-meter passes, 30-meter passes. Good. Very calm on the ball. Like, why are we not encouraging? Now, I understand because there's an underlining thing. The more you abuse these kids, the more you keep them playing games, they will get injured. They become sustainable to injury. So I understand that. But we need to give them a chance because we're looking for players. We're looking to Ineos and them. They're not looking at players that they're going to buy because they're trying to sort other things out. But then you look at the academy and we've got the players. And there is a path. There is a route for a kid from the under-23s or the under-21s to actually come and play a role in the first team. There is a route. A route, whatever you want to call it. It is there. So why are we not taking advantage of this? In the moment when we actually need it. It's not one of those things where it's like, we are Manchester United. We don't use the kids. No, we do. We do. Let's use them. Let's freaking use them. And then another topic, Johnny Evans had some nice words to speak about Erik ten Hag. Honestly, I think when you read Evans' article, I think it's open to interpretation. I think you as an individual, as you read it, you can formulate your own conclusions or whatever you want to call them. But what I got from Johnny Evans, and I trust Johnny Evans because he is a dying breed. You know what I mean? He is the last of the old school, you know. So I trust what he said. I don't think he's the type of player that says one thing and means the other. I don't believe it. And he had pretty much a lot of good things to say about Eric Ten Hag, and which is the same things as the same qualities that I've been seeing. I'm pretty sure the other Eric Ten Hag inners have been seeing as well. Unfortunately, it's just the football that's just putting a doozy on everything. But Evans was saying, listen, I don't think I've seen a very strong-minded man like Eric Ten Hag. You look at the situation that he's in, especially in the turmoil, like this roller, like all these, the news, everything, and Eric Ten Hag is still positive, still remains consistent. He is unwavering in his principles and what he wants and how he wants to work. I like that. He still remains a disciplinarian. Like, he still remains true to himself. And I appreciate that. He's not buckling. He's not giving signs of Ole. Like, or Mourinho, you know, like those. I love Mourinho, but you know, there was that when towards the end when things are not working out, there was just this toxicity, this negativity, very thick. You could slice it, you know. And I don't think we have that right now. I don't think we have that with Eric Ten Hag. So he was just pretty much saying that this guy works his socks off. You know, he's positive. He's always trying to. He's always willing to teach. He's always like, you know, when I read Evans thing, my heart broke because I just can't. I just it. The Benny McCarthy interview hit me in my head because Benny McCarthy was like, "Yo, you look at the players that we've got there at Manchester United. Damn, we can destroy any team any day, any team, any day, any time. Bring it on. We'll smack a bitch." That was how he described how intense and how the training sessions were at Manchester United. And then he's like, but then you come during the weekend and you look at the boys, and the boys are like, you get the shock. You know, you get the shock of, bruh. And that is like literally, like that is the story of our lives, Manchester United fans. And whether you are the fan that follows these players day to day, you know, like me, I know not everything, but you know, I know majority of the things that are happening. You know, like the players' mood, you know, the gaffers' mood. What, you know, I get that feeling, and then I give my prediction. You know, you sit there confident with Pastor D talking about the game, and you tell Pastor D, but D, look, man, these guys are playing well, and it's like, nah. You know, I'm not saying that that's, you know, I'm just giving a scenario. So, like, nah, but what? And you're like, nah, bro, let's give these guys time. Let's do this, let's do that. There is something there. There's something building. And we're like, nah, we need to win now. What's going on? No, no, no. And we're like, all right, let's just wait. No, no. This is Manchester United, guys. We will keep on getting all these kind of stories and what to derail us. But I believe you that these players are the issue. The players are the issue. I'm not going to sit here and take anybody's crap and say it's Eric Ten Hag. Eric Ten Hag's issue is how he sorts out the team game day. The results. If we lose a game, Eric Ten Hag needs to answer that. He does. But then why we lost the game, how we lost the game, we need to look at the players. We need to look at the players. And this season, so far, we are breaking the records of almost. We are almost there. We are getting there. We are this day. Like, that's where we are at with Manchester United. It's not good enough. It is not good enough. This topic actually flows into my next topic of what I want to talk about. Goals. Goals, goals, goals. Goals win you games. And we are not scoring goals. I know we have got some very nice, or whatever you want to call it. Like, okay, so for example, Onana he's leading the Golden Glove for clean sheets. Yeah? And I know that's not a significant thing to the to the shallow mind. But to a real Manchester United supporter who truly gets it, maybe I shouldn't say those words, because then I'm provoking those that I'll be like, nah, that's bullshit. So I apologize. I take that 15 seconds back. So it's like you. How do I put this without sounding like an asshole? Last season, goals were just literally goals were walking into our goalposts. Like, they were not being shot; they were literally just rolling in. We were conceding a lot of goals. This season, we don't. We are not conceding much. We are losing. We are not playing to the best of our ability. But evidence has showed since the beginning of the season that their football has changed. The defense is stronger. Yes, we got beaten by Liverpool, Tottenham. Those games, you can take them out of isolation. They're very isolated situations. And I think you believe that. The Liverpool game, those guys didn't give a shit. The Tottenham game was just a weird one. Didn't make sense. It's just one of those. But then you look at the game, like every other game that we've played, we've been very, very good. You know, breaking the records of almost expected goals. Now, if you don't score, we don't win. And if we concede, we lose. I don't know if that makes any sense. If we don't score, we don't win. And if we concede, we lose. Manchester United, the players that we have, if we score goals, there's no way we're losing the game. Come rain, come thunder. But if we concede without scoring, we're definitely losing this game. And that's the story of what's happening right now. Which is why I brought up the topic with Pastor D. I'm like, my guy, our forward's good enough. Now, I am going to say something that's very controversial right here, right now. Because I think I've seen enough, though I don't mind being proven wrong. When I sit here, like when I'm proven wrong, I'll be like, yo, I didn't see that one coming. But right here, right now, our forwards are not good enough. They're not good enough. They're not good enough. I'm sorry. I'm talking Rashford, I'm talking Garnacho, I'm talking Ahmad, I'm talking Xerxes, I'm talking Hoyland, I'm talking Bruno. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. Saying it with my chest. I'm scared, but I'm saying it because I don't believe it. Because it makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. And there's no other way I can look at it. I can't blame Eric Ten Hag. I can't blame this. No, it's these fucking players. It's them. They are not scoring. They're the ones who have been given the responsibility to score, and they're not scoring. So for me, they're not good enough. Because you look at everybody else. Everybody else is scoring. And I remember I had this conversation with D. And D was like, listen, well, maybe I misunderstood him. But, okay, I'm not trying to go back into that because we had a heated debate. But he was like comparing our forwards to the other players. You know, like the other top six or whatever. Like the other wingers and strikers for the other teams. And then I'm like, okay, you can compare them, but then we are not better. I think I was trying to make the point like we're not that good. Like you can't say that we've got good players when they're not scoring goals, and then you compare them to maybe the likes of Aston Villa or West Ham. These guys are doing the business, and then you want to have a comparison. Like, maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe D will listen to this and correct me. Pastor D, you know what I mean. Leave your comment there and let me know. But you know what I'm saying. And I was just like, listen, if our guys are not scoring, it actually makes no sense for us to compare them to the likes of Mo Salah or Erling Haaland and all these things. Because those guys in their clubs are doing the business. They are scoring. Whereas for us, we're not. So how is there even a comparison? You know what I mean? Like, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to just be a team that's just there? You know? Now, my controversial thing is that even as much as I'm saying that these players are not good enough, I still have this belief that they will start scoring. They will start doing these things. It's wild. I can't explain that to you. I'm human. But I just believe they're not good enough, especially for Manchester United. You know, Manchester United is a brand, right? It's powerful. You look at Real Madrid, right? You look at the players that are there, Mbappe and what. Manchester United, right? You look at our strikers, you look at our forwards. That's not Manchester United-esque quality. I'm sorry to say. It is not. Like, we've had some bangers out there representing us in those forward lines. And I know this sounds as if I'm going in on the players and the youngsters. No, I'm not. And forgive me if I'm giving that impression. I'm just trying to highlight a point here. Is that we can't keep sitting here and saying that we want goals, goals, goals. We need to score goals. We need to do this, goals, goals, goals. We're complaining about goals. And who is responsible for these goals? Do you understand? Like, how can you complain about not scoring and then not criticize the people responsible for it? How are we not shining a light at our forwards? I mean, we've been doing it with Rashford, we have. But then there's Garnacho, and then there's Ahmad, then there's Zexi, then there's Højlund. Bruno is just off, but we want him back. So how do we have this conversation without pissing people off, making people cry, like, you know, making people think that you hate this team? No, when you're just trying to find solutions. How do we do that? That is the $1 million question. Now, Erik ten Hag would tell you, trust the process. And that's exactly where I am at. Because in as much as I have all these feelings about my players and all these things, something tells me, listen, there will be a point where it'll be like, I've had enough. I'm not doing this anymore. Get this guy out. This guy is this. Like, that point will come if we continue to play shit. Believe it. Whether fans turn their backs on it will happen. 100% it will happen if we continue to give poor results. It's inevitable. But the moment they start scoring and winning games, then the atmosphere is different. Then you start hearing people speaking highly of the players. Then you start hearing, this guy, it was a long time coming. They start bringing out these stats of XG and be like, you see, he's this. Listen, football is like this. It's like this. Form comes and takes these players. It's about those, that are consistent, that can hone in that thing and keep it together. Bruno Fernandes, honestly, I'm going in on him because he's my skipper. Like, I need to lead by example. We can't be slating Rashford saying he's not scoring goals or shit on or Garnacho or someone because they're not doing this and not go in on the skipper. My favorite player. But Bruno Fernandes, I'm sorry, he's just not been good. But in my heart, I know the player that he is. I know what he's capable of. And I would say this to people, but it will be taken the wrong way. I'll tell people, guys, form is temporary. This guy is class. Permanent. You know what I mean? This guy is class. And class is permanent, bro. Form is temporary, bro. Like, we're sitting here wondering why Bruno's not clicking. Did we ask ourselves questions when David De Gea was letting in those silly fucking goals? When Harry Maguire was having the doozy of his life? Rashford continues to have an up and down fucking Martial. Oh my God. Like, the list goes on. I don't think Manchester United has had the most consistent player like Bruno. Maybe you could say Mazraoui, but Mazraoui just arrived. Like, there has not been that Mr. Reliable in Manchester United that gives you those serious numbers. So, to sit here and complain and moan, I get it. I'm frustrated and I'm only doing it because I need to lead the charge. I can't sit here and say, now Bruno is playing well when he's not, even though he's my favorite player. No, I can't have that. I've been complaining about Bruno this whole season. I won't lie. I watch him and I'm just annoyed and I'm like, skipper, Wagwan? Like, are you doing this to me? Because I've been sitting here with my chest out thinking that you're going to do the business. And here you are. But as a footballer myself, somebody that played the game, I know that there are moments in your career, there are moments where you're just not playing good. It's okay. It's like mental health. You know, some days you're just on it, some days you're just off it. Some days more than others, you're just, bad day. These things happen. And it happens in football. It happens. Pogba had it. Jesse Lingard went through it. Lukaku went through it. Like everybody goes through it. Cristiano Ronaldo went through it. Lionel Messi went through it. A period. Very short periods, not like everybody. But they go through a period where they slump. And in as much as I love Bruno, I also feel like it's unfair for us to go in on him because since arriving in Manchester United, Bruno has put in the numbers, hands down. And it kind of feels like a cop out or something, whatever you want to call it, just going in on him because we know what he's capable of. We're just trusting the process. Eric Ten Hag keeps saying, when that moment clicks, it is it. And I think it will. I really do believe it will. But if we're not scoring, like my expectations, right? My expectations for the next 2 games, Premier League game or whatever game, is that I want my forward line to score goals. I want an XG of six goals in 2 games. Be it 4-0 this side, then 2 this, whatever, but 3-0, I don't know. But I need these guys to stretch their legs and start scoring because we're going to remain where we are, unfortunately. And then now what are we going to do? It is only at that time when now you guys will start coming in and like, they're not good enough. They're not good. The signs are there. The signs are there right now. It's just like Delo in this left back situation. If they don't tell Delo to sit the fuck back and not bomb forward, I think we'll have very good games. But he has this thing where he bombs forward and I think he forgets himself. I don't think Eric Ten Hag has told, I refuse. It's so bizarre. When I see it, I'm like, wait, Delo, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you trying to be a midfielder, trying to bomb forward and then lose the ball, and then you have to start? Nah, I'm not having that. So that is done, and we need to score goals. Goals are what we need at Manchester United. Rashford needs to step up. Garnacho is already there. Ahmad, I think we need to see more of him. Like, we like what he does, but I want to see more. I want to see more. I want to see him get more inside the box, causing problems. I want to see him stretch those guys right up until the byline, bring the ball in. I really want to do. I want to see him take chances because he's got a wand of a left foot, So I want to see him take more. I want to see him get more involved. I want to see him get tripped in that box. I want him to get in, Xerxes, Højlund. I don't want to go too much in that department because I think I've already had my say. Ineos and these guys, I have a feeling it's going to backfire. Because, when you're looking for a striker, strikers are a hot commodity. It's one of those things where, your striker carries you. You look at Aston Villa, they have Ollie Watkins, Man City, Haaland. Brentford used to have Tony. Tottenham used to have Harry Kane. Liverpool used to have Bobby Firmino or whatever. Strikers. Jackson. This. Isak. Everybody's got that striker. We are not. I don't know. I don't want to say that we don't have that, but honestly, the evidence and what we are seeing is not there. And I'm really, really worried in that regard. Because you know what's going to happen? People are going to forget that Ineos brought these guys in. Well, maybe Rasmus Højlund was an Eric Ten Hag and Glazer appointment. But Xerxes was Ineos together with Eric. I don't know. There's something there that just doesn't add up. Unless these guys start scoring goals, then it becomes something else. But until then. And then last but not least, the Golden Boy Awards. Oh man, we've got 3 players in Manchester United that have been nominated. Huh? Isn't that pride? Aren't you proud? Huh? We've had Waza over the years. I think we've had Tony Martial over the years. Now we have got Kobe, Garnacho, and Lenny Yoro in the mix. Like they're nominated. They're in the top 25 list of the Golden Boy list. Now, obviously, I believe the Golden Boy is going to go to Yamal. But it's nice to know that our players, our young players, two academy graduates from Manchester United, are Golden Boy. They've been shortlisted in the Golden Boy. Man, if you guys are not taking pride in that, then I don't know what is. Because either, like, I was even looking at the big boys. Like, we're not there in the mix of awards. We're not. There's no Bruno, none of that. We used to have players that were nominated for stuff, for their excellence, for the way they play. We don't have that anymore, and that to me worries me. I don't know about you guys, but that worries me in a very weird way, but it does. The fact that our players are not shining or they're not standing out like stars, like how is that? That should already tell us, because when Rashford was having his moment, like the whole world knew. The whole world was scared. I remember Xavi, when we were going to play against Barcelona, big man was like, we need to find ways on how to stop this guy. This guy, we need to figure it out. How are we? And you'd be like, Xavi is panicking because of Rashford. Now Ipswich are like, yo, bring it on. Hey, what's Salah? They're like, so come on. That fear factor that we used to have is not there. But this Golden Boy award is prestigious. It highlights the qualities of the best players across Europe in all the leagues. And the fact that we've got our Kobe Menu there and our Garnacho there and our Lenny Yoro there speaks volumes. It just shows that Manchester United are moving in the right direction. When I say in the right direction, I mean we are building for the future. Unfortunately, some of the rewards that we're going to reap in the future, they're starting right now. The foundation is beginning right now, right here, right now. The patience that you guys don't have for Manchester United sickens me, and I want us to go into this with proper knowledge. I was sitting yesterday and I was indulging in a group, and there was this dude, not even a Manchester United fan, just from nowhere, just post a Benny McCarthy article that he chose because it suited his agenda. It's like Benny McCarthy says that Eric Ten Hag does not have a winning mentality or something like that. And I'm like, what? So he posts that, and then he was like, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, Eric Ten Hag doesn't have a winning mentality. Makes no sense. Brother, you're not even a Man United fan. What the fuck do you know? Check, read the article. I'm like, listen, in that moment, I knew that the way we indulge football, all of us, is very different. There's levels to this shit. There is. Like, don't just read everything that's out there. Like, come on. Like, oh my God. And then the same guy who says that Eric Ten Hag has got no winning mentality or whatever is the same guy that goes on a podcast, Supersport, and speaks highly of this man. Says this guy's a workaholic. I'm scared that this guy might even have a divorce because he works so hard. This guy can be sleeping and wake up in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock with an idea. Come on. Come on. Like, if that doesn't show you the dedication and the drive of this manager, I don't know what else would. Eric Ten Hag in. This is Don Benito. Thank you for listening to the Glory Reds podcast. Peace.